guys, welcome back to Friends and Enemas. I'm your host, Lindsey, and I have a very special guest with me here today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, let's do it. Hey, I'm Lexie Woods. I'm a nurse and also a romance author, so very excited to be here.
Specifically smut, or?
Well, if you say it like that, yeah. I mean, it does get spicy at times, for sure.
Those are my favorites. So I
I
had
know.
to ask.
I was hoping so.
Will you tell us a little bit about how you became a nurse, and then we'll jump into your author.
Yeah, we can go through the eras.
All of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like you, I never planned on being a nurse.
Really?
Yeah. So I went to undergrad for marketing and then graduated, did a worked 2 years in corporate America.
Oh, wow.
Decided that I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And so I went to get a, what are they called? Accelerated bachelor's degree in nursing, which was amazing. It was not like you can do your if you didn't do your prereqs online before, you can do them, or not online before, but if you didn't do your prereqs in undergrad before, you can do your prereqs online.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like, I don't even remember how many there were, but it wasn't a lot. And I did it while I was working, and then I quit and did the
student thing.
Yeah, it was a maze. And now I'm a nurse.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was, I was just listening to your episode with Paige. I was listening to all your episodes.
Oh my God.
But I was listening to your episode with Paige, and we finished around the same time. I was like May 2021, so right when the pandemic was kind of
going on the low.
A little bit. And I started in oncology. I've been an oncology nurse ever since I graduated, and I literally love it. You don't meet a lot of oncology nurses, to be honest with you, which I was kind of shocked by.
One of my best friends from nursing school, shout out Liz. She was an oncology nurse. I don't think she is still, but she started there. And it kind of, when she first told me, I was like, why would you want to go there?
Stop.
Just because, to me, an outsider, never did a clinical there.
Yeah. You don't learn about it in nursing school either.
You don't really learn about
Maybe
it.
like a small 20-minute module or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
which is honestly egregious.
It is
why?
egregious. Because then it makes me, at the time I was like, why do you want to go be around people who are sad all the time? But
they're not sad, I promise.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Right. That's what
But that is what you see from the outside.
That's what you think. And so I'm like, why would you want to do that?
I know.
When really, she absolutely thrived. Loved every second of it. She's also like the most people-y person I've ever met in the best way. Yeah. And so she just fit right in and just loved that.
Go Liz.
Go Liz.
Hey,
and go you, because
I'm sorry that you're not doing oncology anymore, Liz.
Liz. So tell us more about
the journey.
Yeah,
I'll take you through it. So, so I started working on oncology. I actually started, fun fact, new grads, you can start as an infusion nurse if you want to. A lot of not a lot, but some hospitals have infusion residencies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I did it.
I'd probably be better at IVs if I did that.
Except a lot of them have ports. And actually, we were like very spoiled. There were MAs who did the IVs for us. So like all we had to do was start the chemo.
Okay,
I mean,
that's cool
not
too.
all we had to do, but like, yeah, it was a vibe. So I did the infusion residency, and then my husband got a job which moved us. So I like had to stop mid-residency. But I will say infusion's pretty nice because you work normal hours. So you work it was more similar to like a corporate role in the sense that you work like Monday through Friday hours. So you aren't working the 3s, which is kind of sad because you do love, you gotta love the 3 schedule.
I do.
I understand. But it was kind of like an easy transition basically for me. Plus, you get to know patients when they come in weekly or whatever, multiple times a week for infusions. And you get comfortable around a lot of people don't understand chemo, and are scared of chemo. It's really not scary, I promise.
Every time I get a patient with chemo, I'm like,
you're like, oh my God, what do I
do? Need an adult or a nurse?
Stop. We are not adults. We are children.
All of us.
But so then when we moved, I did another residency at an oncology hospital, inpatient, doing bone marrow transplant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was super awesome. I loved it. And now, Fun fact also, you can change careers as a nurse multiple times if you want. So now I'm a research nurse. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy how many things you can do in nursing that you never learn about. In nursing. Did you ever know, like, a research nurse was a job?
Mm-mm, not at all.
And either you can work for, like, a hospital, which is what I do, or I have a friend who did work for a hospital, in our city, and then she moved. Now she works for like I don't want to say she works for a pharmaceutical company, but it's like, maybe it is a pharmaceutical. It's a company that runs clinical trials, basically.
Okay.
And it's a completely different type of nursing.
Yeah.
Basically, there are multiple different things you can do within research nursing, but like it's more office jobby, right? Like I kind of equate it to like a project manager. So my husband was like a project manager, so that's kind of how I equate it. But you run like, you work with a physician directly, and then you basically run the clinical trial out of your hospital. It's very interesting.
It is interesting, and it's completely different from bedside nursing.
Completely different.
Which if you start bedside, that's kind of all you know.
Right, exactly. So I never interacted with research nurses before. I became one. And I will say, like, but you have the skills, like you have the understanding, so it's very easy to pivot into different roles. I had another friend who went to go be a transplant coordinator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, actually. I mean, obviously, I've dealt with transplant coordinators on the phone.
Right.
From the ICU, like, trying to figure out who's getting what.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize they could be nurses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nurses. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah, and you get to, I mean, you still work with patients. It's a little less direct. Obviously, it's not patient care.
Yeah.
Or not direct patient care.
Yeah.
But it's still fulfilling in its own way.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're talking about it, because again, I get a lot of messages from either new grads or nurses that are just burnt out, and they want to pivot, want to go somewhere else, but they don't even know where besides outpatient. Because that's all we hear is, just go outpatient.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an option too, but there's so many more options than we even realize.
Right. And like you're right. A lot of people say, just go be a clinic nurse. And it's like, okay, that is one path for sure that you can take. When I was doing my infusion residency, they wanted me to be a clinic nurse, and I was like, I absolutely am not doing that. Like, I will quit.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about like, but try it. Try different things. Case management. Like, there are so many different paths that you can take within nursing.
Yeah.
And you can always go back to bedside.
You can. That's what I tell everyone.
Always.
If you leave and you hate it, there will always be an opportunity for you back at bedside.
100%. And I think that people outside of healthcare don't understand that, because like my husband is like, well, are you sure there's going to be a job? And I'm like, you don't get it. You don't understand the crisis.
Yes, especially where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to say that where you're at, but like there's so many hospitals.
There's so many hospitals, so many
there's
jobs.
Opportunity.
Exactly. We're fine.
You're like, believe me, let me do this.
And also, like, worst case scenario, I'll just be a stay-at-home wife for like a little bit. Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. Do it.
No, but there are plenty of opportunities, and I think that's what's interesting. Like, I think you had an episode where you were talking to someone about like how I think it was probably Paige also, about how you don't know what you don't know growing up, and unless you're introduced to something, and that's just not just like growing up, but like in general, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So like if you don't know someone who's a research nurse or who's like a case manager or whatever, you don't know those opportunities exist because there's not really like pathways for it. Right. You have to seek it out. There's not a lot of
information initially either. Yeah. Because I remember being in nursing school. Before we even went to nursing school, my husband was in nursing. He's also a nurse.
Right.
And he was a year ahead of me. He had been talking about travel nursing before we even went. He's like, we're going to be travel nurses. He's like, I want that dough.
Yeah.
And I remember my instructors being like, you need to not think about that. You need to think about bedside, because that's where, but I'm like, that is a part of bedside, but they want you so like.
It's an indoctrination thing.
It is. So is.
Our actually, what's the word? College, the program? Bachelor's degree program that I was in, basically almost funneled us into med surg at the hospital that we did our clinicals at, which
where they're paid
in Atlanta. Well, to be fair, like they did give us like a scholarship, like they wanted us to go work there, and I get it, but because they were struggling with staffing and med surg.
Yeah.
But it's also like you need to let your students explore other alternatives outside of bedside, because it's just our hospital actually that I work at, it has research nurse residencies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like one of the girls I work with went to nursing school specifically to be a research nurse. I think she worked in like clinical research before that, not as a nurse.
Oh.
And then found out about research nursing and ended up, but it's like, that's crazy. Infusion nurse resident.
Yeah, I didn't know either of those existed because when I was in nursing school, exactly, they're funneling us into med-surg. Go. Yeah. And med-surg has its pros.
No, it does.
It does. Like, I shit on it all the time just because it's not for me.
It's easy to shit on.
It's easy to shit on. It's just not
But, like,
my
we love you guys. Thank you for everything
I am not shitting on the med-surg nurses. I'm shitting on your job because I can't. I can't do it. No. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it full time.
Yeah. But you do it occasionally.
I do, unfortunately. And I make it through.
Yeah.
With some tears sometimes. I might be a little stressy, but I can make it through.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just funnel us straight into med-surg typically.
Yeah.
Or anything else in bedside. And I'm just like, but there's other options. There was a girl I went to school with who she knew immediately she wanted to be in plastic surgery.
Oh,
now she had to get some aesthetics. She had to get some experience bedside before.
I wonder what she did.
I don't know. I should follow up with her because I'm very curious. But I remember that she's like, "Oh, I'm going plastics. That's exactly what I want to do." I'm like, "That's cool.
Good for her.
You have a vision."
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's hard to have a vision.
It is.
Like how, how would you know you wanted to be an oncology nurse
exactly.
unless you had an experience,
an opportunity there,
and they don't give it to you. Yeah.
Because a lot of those places as well, I get a lot of DMs saying like, I want to start ER or I want to start ICU or blank specialty.
100%.
But they're only taking experienced people.
Oh, are they not doing residencies?
I guess not all hospitals do new grad residencies.
Interesting.
I know.
They
so I
force
was like,
you into med surg.
They do. And so that's where I was like, you either have to look at a different hospital or play the game.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Exactly.
Get your experience and then bounce, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think it's messed up when they make you sign contracts too.
Yeah.
As a new grad.
Yeah, and it's by make you, it's if you don't sign it, you don't work there.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Yeah, and then it's like a 2-year contract.
Exactly.
Which is a lot for a med surg floor. Like that's a long time to.
Yes.
I think it's really unfortunate. I think that happens a lot more in certain less competitive markets.
Yeah.
And you can't really do anything. Like.
No, because also most new grads are pretty desperate to get a job.
Yeah, you need a job.
You need money.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah, you need experience. And so they'll jump right into it, which I understand.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, my husband signed a contract.
Did he?
Because he was a year ahead of me. So he's like, 2 years, by that point, you'll be a year in. But he was like, you don't sign the contract.
Did he stay the whole time?
He stayed the whole 2 years. We were good. I did not sign the 2-year contract, but they almost didn't give me the job because they want you to stay.
Yeah.
I was like, please.
But you want your staff to be happy.
I know.
That's the thing.
And they're like, but we're giving you free money, but you're not.
But it's only 10,000. I mean, I would be like
over 2 years.
I know. I'm not. I would gladly pay you back.
Exactly. That's not that much money over.
But they do. Some hospitals come for you. I've worked with multiple people who received
had to pay it back. See, I've heard such
don't you
mixed.
Have better things to do?
Exactly. Don't you have the money already?
I know.
I know that you're more rich than I am. I had a friend that told me that she did not pay it back, and I was like, "How do you get a?" I guess it just depends.
Do they not? Oh, they never asked her to.
They never asked her to pay.
Yeah,
it back.
Unless they ask, I wouldn't.
Oh,
yeah.
I wouldn't even bring it up.
Absolutely not.
I'd be like,
yeah,
what loan?
I actually am having amnesia.
Yeah, please remind me.
Wild. No, you don't know what you don't know.
No.
Yeah. So.
As a new grad, did you struggle with any bullying on the unit? Any strange occurrences with certain people?
That's a good question. I don't feel like I did on
good.
my floor.
Yeah.
It was I felt like everyone was super welcoming, but this was also like literally desperate staffing crisis mode. Okay. And so they were just like,
happy to have someone.
Please come, please don't call out. Like, please assist. We need you. So I think that also kind of helped with it. And I think, I don't know, I think I'm really lucky. When you find like a good floor and good people, like you just stick with them, because I think when you work with good people, like even if you're like in the trenches of hell.
Oh yeah. Well, because
did you?
My first year, I had the best experience. My preceptor, shout out to Erin if she ever listens to this. She's amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I was so lucky to have her versus other people that I saw. I was like, oh, they kind of, like at the time, I'm like, they're kind of scary. Yeah. But, she really led me
taught
to
you
success.
Everything you know.
Yes. Yeah. And also, yes, there were some people on the unit that were like known to be hateful.
Right. And night shift, cough, cough. I'm just kidding.
Mine was on night shift too. I don't know if that's a coincidence. No, because I do vibe with night shift.
No, I know. I do vibe with most night shifters. Yeah.
I can't stay awake.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I respect it.
But my one person who I'm speaking of was on night shift.
Same.
And so I'm like, coincidence.
Now that you mention it, yeah, weird.
But I also think obviously anyone can be bullied or whatever.
Yes.
But pick your battles.
100%.
Sometimes just if you cannot care, don't care.
Yeah.
I know it's hard when you're a new grad, when you don't really know what's going on, you're overwhelmed. Yeah. There are like people of seniority around you all the time trying to make you feel dumb. Yeah. But I swear, if you just don't care.
Yeah. You just kind of have to like have a like mask.
Shields.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Like, you are doing the best you can.
Yeah. Because you know what? Everyone's doing the best they can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nobody's going to be perfect all the time.
No.
You're not going to get to everything.
No.
Especially like some days, and that's okay. Like that's why it's 24/7 care.
That's my favorite quote. Whenever I'm working, like it's a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
I am sorry I missed this.
Yeah. But I'm actually not sorry because I was really busy.
I was actually really busy, so fuck off.
I actually do not feel bad at all that I did not hang that blood.
I know. There's some times that like certain questions in report, I'm like, I know you've had a busy shift before. Right. I know you have. Yeah. Where you like turn around and you're like, how did I forget to do that?
Right.
But you did.
Right. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And you kind of feel like that, like the like a prickle sensation. Yes. You're like, oh my God.
I feel like my heart dropping to my ass.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God.
Exactly.
But patient didn't die.
No.
They're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay.
It will get done.
It will get done.
Yeah.
It's just also, now I'm on a tangent.
Yeah.
We just get so many hats put on us
100%.
Too, that it's like, why are we upset with each other?
No.
We should be upset with whoever's making these rules because it's not us.
Oh my God. I could talk all day about things being added to nursing plates that should not be added. Why are we, I understand policies and procedure because, it makes the hospital safer and it makes it safe patient care.
Yes.
But why are we adding charting, like certain things? Like why are we putting more onto our nurses and not taking things away from them? That's what I will never understand.
Give and take, please.
Exactly. And I will say some hospitals are better about that than others.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gotta love magnet designations.
Exactly, because there's a hospital I know of here that when you give report, and how long is report in the ICU? It can be 10 minutes, it can be 30 minutes if someone doesn't know how to get with it. But it's a long time.
You're like over here twitching.
I'm like, just tell me the pertinent information.
Yes, please.
But on top of that, we're supposed to open up this document that has possible 30 extra questions to go through together.
Oh, together?
Together. Does the patient...
That you have to chart?
Yes. It's like it's not in the chart. It's actually like a Google Doc of some kind. I was like, this doesn't feel...
But then they audit it. And then you get an email.
I already got an email. And I was like,
I hate that. Oh my God.
Guys, we're doing reports.
Stop.
This is extra report. What are you?
That is very micromanagey.
Very micromanagey. Yeah. Very climbing the ladder-y.
100%.
You climb the ladder.
Go for it, girl.
Don't make me do that.
Well, but also like don't add more to my plate while you're trying to climb the ladder.
Yes. And not taking away, like you said.
Exactly. Because you can't expect Or if you're going to add more, pay me more.
Yes.
Like literally
actually.
just like give it. You can't just take and take.
Yes.
We gotta do a little quick.
Pay me more. 30 cents per question.
Per question.
Per question. There's 30 questions, 30 cents. No,
I literally can't even do that mental math right now.
I couldn't either. I meant to say a cent per thing.
Yeah, it would be way easier. Yeah.
You know,
it's a lot. But I hear you. It's a lot. So.
Well, okay, so I don't know if you guys know, but she's an author.
Oh, yeah.
She's an author, which is what we're getting into.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Randomly.
How did it happen?
Yeah, so that's what's so crazy.
Okay.
I was sitting there. Oncology, obviously, not the easiest specialty to work in. And I needed a way to process my emotions. And so what happened was, we were just talking about this, I was on an SSRI for like 4 years, and I was just coming off of it and dealing with like libido changes due to the SSRI. And one of the things that I always heard helped with that was reading like erotica, smut, like romance, whatever. And for a lot of women, that's like that's less intimidating than other avenues, right?
Yes.
And so I started reading as I was like working through this, and then like I was also, processing this emotional trauma, and I was like, oh my god, I could write a book. It's like when Elle Woods is like, I'm gonna go to law school. I woke up one day and I said, I want to be an author, and I did. I might have girl bossed a little too close to the sun, but it is weird. So I wrote it I wrote it while I was still bedside, over the course of like a year or so, just like when I had free time. And I never actually intended to publish it. It just kind of was more for me, which is why it's literally very chaotic. There's a lot going on. I didn't know, when I wrote it, I didn't know what a romance trope was. I didn't know anything about publishing. I didn't know anything. And so I just kind of like did it. I put it out there and I was like, this is my book. And then it just like slowly evolved into this series. And here we are with Midtown Memorial. It's literally wild. It has been whirlwind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
That's really
That's
cool.
kind of how it happened. It did really help with the processing though. So in my series, you'll have there's a lot of like, especially the first book, it's a lot of like discussion on what it's like to work as a nurse in a post-COVID environment, and like the struggles that I used it as like a trauma dump. I was like, staffing sucks. I didn't say it like that, but like I was like, these are frustrations that like we go through, and like the main character is a nurse, so that's how I did it. But it was cathartic. Yeah, it was really cathartic. And then with my second book, I actually talked to our friend who is an orthopedic surgery resident, which was super helpful. And because I didn't know anything about residency.
I know, I wouldn't either.
It's like wild. But it's been really cool. Like, and I get to comment on different little things that I want to talk about in healthcare. So like my most recent one, I was talking a lot about like, I didn't even realize like it was a lot of like almost like PTSD, like processing of things, and how like sometimes I don't know if this is like too dark, but just saying, like sometimes you might experience this when you have patients who you lose in the ICU, sometimes, or who you like knew for longer. Sometimes it's like you have little ghosts that follow you around, and like I will never forget especially when I was writing this book too, because it was like I was at a wedding in Chicago, and they played the father-daughter dance song was Let It Be by the Beatles, and I will never forget like this experience that I had caring for this patient who was like a huge Beatles fan, and we played it for him like while he was like about to die.
I just got chills.
But it was like, so that moment triggered, like I hadn't thought about him in like almost a year at that point. That moment triggered something within me where I could not stop crying. I had to leave the wedding because it was like but like you think, you know, like you'll occasionally think about these people who like you're not related to, like you didn't know them before you cared for them as a nurse, but they follow you around, and you don't realize that they follow you around until
something happens. That's such a good way to put it, and I've never heard anyone put it in a way of like their ghost.
They are
following you.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience with, during COVID. ICU COVID is what I worked in.
Can't even imagine.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And amazing in such a separate way.
Right.
Nothing to do with the patients, everything to do with like autonomy.
100%.
Being trusted.
Right.
Just so many things that like experience.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, awful, so many deaths, so many young people, just it was awful.
Yeah.
But there's one man that sticks out to me, and I remember I was trying he spoke Spanish and Spanish only. I would always bring in a translator. I was trying so hard with him. I'd had him for the whole weekend, so you kind of build a rapport.
You do, yeah, of course.
I know what he likes. He's a little particular, but I get it.
Yeah.
And he was on the BiPAP, and there was like a telltale sign of how someone's going or when they're going to get on the vent, and his next step would have been the ventilator. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah.
His air conditioner in his room went off, and I remember this because his room was so hot, and I was like, he's like, it's
and
hot.
you were in all that PPE.
And all that PPE. I'm sweating. I thought it was just me that I was like, I thought I was just hot. No, his air conditioner was broken in his room. It wouldn't work. We had no other rooms to put him in. He can't breathe.
Right.
We're about to put him on the ventilator, and I was like, before we do this, we have to find him a room. This is unacceptable.
Right.
He is miserable, and it's fucking hot in there.
Right.
I went back and forth with maintenance. I went back and forth with my charge nurse. Eventually, one of the physicians was also Hispanic, and I told him, and he was like, "Not my people." You know, he's like, I'm about to throw hands for my, which thank you, because no one else was going to. They're like, and I understand we're all drowning.
Right.
Everyone's.
And if there's no room, there's no room.
There's no room.
Right. But also we need to fix it. We need to find a solution.
We need to move someone down. We need to move something. We got to do something. So they tried finding a solution.
Right.
But we still had to intubate him during that time. So we intubate him. I go home. I come back hoping for a solution. He had died that night. And that one messed with me more than any other, because I was like, did he die in a hot ass fucking room? You know what I mean? Like the smallest thing.
Like uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He was uncomfortable going on the vent, just all these things. But I didn't think about it until literally maybe a year or two later. And when I was hot, I was in my car.
Really?
Like, oh my God, I need to take my jacket off. I'm so hot. And then I was like, is this how he felt? And just start bawling.
And it's like you hadn't thought about him in forever.
I hadn't thought about it, because we have to compartmentalize to keep moving on.
You do.
Some people use the word jaded, and while some people can be jaded, I don't think it's
that.
Compartmentalizing.
It's processing.
It's processing.
Yeah.
We have to put it aside.
And sometimes you can't process for years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like you said that story, and I was like, oh my God, that happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? When you do, it feels good.
Oh, it felt so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it out.
You didn't realize that you were carrying that with you. Yeah,
I know.
It is crazy. Like you have to keep moving, and sometimes I don't know. It's a hard part of nursing. It is. But that's like one of the best parts about writing this series. And I always say I wrote it for me. Like I didn't write it for anyone else, because it's like we all have to find our ways to cope, and it's not like nursing, no matter what you do, it's not easy. No. And so we all have to figure out a way to like refill our cup, right? Writing actually does not refill my cup, but it did allow me to. At one point, maybe. It did allow me to process. So it is, but yeah, we have to find what works for us. Yeah. Yeah. Some people it's therapy, SSRIs, like literally whatever.
So does writing help you fill your own cup?
Great question. Love it. I have been trying to figure that out over the past few months, because it has become like a second full-time job. So it's very challenging to kind of maintain the pace within the independent publishing like world. A lot of authors publish like within very quick deadlines. Writing has always, I never dreamed of being a writer. I always say like literally the only thing I wrote before this series was a journal in 10th grade that my English teacher made me keep. Like, it was like not that serious. And so it's not like my dream. You know, a lot of people say nursing wasn't your first plan, nursing wasn't my plan, and neither was writing. Like, but things just kind of like fall upon us, right? And sometimes they end up being phenomenal. Like, I've met so many wonderful people, learned so much about myself and about, you know, a cool new industry. And so, does it fill my cup? No. But has it allowed me to process and, like, am I proud of myself? Yeah. And you should be proud of yourself too. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing something completely separate from nursing. Not completely separate, but like, you know, like it's a completely different business. And I'm sure you've learned so much.
No, that resonates with me more than you know.
Yeah,
because
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And I think people, like, whenever I first started posting videos, it was for fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was for you.
It was for me.
Yeah.
But now it's for others more than myself, I feel, because it's turned into business.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of does take the fun away a little bit. It does, yeah. But you hit on, I've met amazing people.
Right.
I've seen other people's journeys. It's put me in rooms with people I didn't know I could ever be in.
Right.
Same with you. Like, you're meeting, I think sometimes it's about who you'll meet along the way, not 100%. Exactly what you're doing. Yeah. But I know what you mean, because some people are like, well, you make TikToks, like that should fill your cup. And I'm like, maybe once upon a time.
It's a little harder than that.
It's a little harder. Sometimes it's not so fun.
Yeah.
But what do you do just for you? Or have you figured that out?
Honestly, right now, literally 0%, anything. But other than, like, maybe taking a bath, LOL. I don't know. With, like, a glass of wine. Vibes. But no, I haven't figured it out. I have a dog too. He's a yellow lab. And so I love walking my dog. That's literally all I do. I don't exercise. I really should. Like, I went to get my physical last week, and I saw this DO for the first time, and, you know, they're a little more like holistic. And he was like, how's your sleep? And I was like, I don't know, I get like 5 hours sleep a night. And he was like, I was like, I'm fine. And he was like, well, I got like 6 during residency. And I was like, cool, bro. But like, okay, that's actually not bad, right? Like, I feel like that's pretty good for a resident.
Yeah, I need to know, was he complaining or was that a brag?
I think it was like a flex, but I'm actually unsure. And then he was like, so like, how's your sleep? Or how's your food? Like, how's your nutrition? And I was like, oh.
We don't speak about that.
Well, if you really want to know what I ate yesterday, it was a Lunchable and Nerd Clusters. So.
What did he say?
He was like, well, I'll be curious to see what your labs look like when we get them back.
I feel like he was dissing on you this whole time.
He was dissing on me, but I was like kind of loving it, you know? So yeah, I mean, like, we all have our thing, but I haven't figured out my thing yet. What's yours? You exercise.
I do exercise. I do like to exercise. I like going to the gym. It does fulfill me a little bit. I will say.
Reading is so good, though.
I love reading.
Yeah.
I think there's not one thing.
Yeah, I think we can have multiple things that fill our cups.
We're girls. Yeah. We so can.
We can do anything.
We can do anything. I will say, when we lived in California, I'm not a good surfer by any means.
That is so cool.
But surfing, something about being in the ocean is so therapeutic, especially
the water.
When you're a little scared of it. Like, I'm a little scared of the ocean.
You know what? It's a safe fear, though.
It is a safe fear.
Right?
Like, nothing's, statistically, really nothing's going to happen to me.
No.
But it's nice being there in a challenging place where I'm like, I am a little scared, but I'm here.
Exactly.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
I am safe. I'm having fun.
Worst case scenario, I can save myself.
Yeah, maybe. Worst case scenario for me is shark.
Yeah, and then I'll just like apply pressure. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. But mine's a mixture of things.
Really? Yeah.
I like exercise. The days I don't exercise, I do feel
not as
more
good.
Blah.
Yeah. But you can't do it every day.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I also am busy. I have a life.
Exactly. I actually have another job.
So actually, I have to go.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's multiple things too. Yeah. But I do love, reading, like, takes you into a whole different world. It is very therapeutic.
It's so therapeutic.
So much more than like sitting in front of a screen for me.
Yes.
And it's so challenging to like step up. Like last night, I stepped away from writing at like 7. I didn't even write because I was like, my brain's not computing right now. So I went downstairs and I was like, let's go lay in bed and read. My husband reads nonfiction because he's a loser. And
I'm not a nonfiction girl.
No, absolutely not. But like,
good for him.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. And so we were laying in bed and I was like scrolling TikTok. I'm like, why am I this way?
Know, me too.
Why?
It's a habit.
But you feel so much better when you read. It's bizarre.
We made a little rule recently, like this week, about 6 or 7, depending on the workday. 6 or 7 p.m., phones go down.
Love it.
They have to go down because it's muscle memory. I'll just pick it up and be scrolling, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know I was doing it again.
Yeah, and how much time has passed?
How much time?
A lot.
An hour.
Exactly.
So we put it away.
Yeah.
Watch a show. I think that's okay, but reading, it'll put me to sleep too.
100%. It's actually very good for you to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
do you have a Kindle?
I do have a Kindle. I like both.
Yeah, I do too.
I do love a Kindle because it's so convenient.
It is very nice.
It's nice to travel. And at night, Jared, my husband, couldn't sleep if I had like a lamp on. Yeah. But with my Kindle, I can still read.
Exactly.
So I like that.
It really does. I've fallen asleep with my Kindle in my hand more times than I can count.
Oh yeah.
It's
soothing.
It is. And then you're not getting the blue light either from the phone.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw this girl on TikTok. She talked about everyone's all of a sudden into reading. Like they think it's like she's kind of
it's so
being
cool.
a bitch. She's like, oh my God, everyone thinks they're so cool because they're just not reading.
Yeah.
I think that more people are reading because of things like TikTok.
I think so too.
Giving us an option. Also telling, like, I didn't read growing up.
Yeah.
I was not a reader.
Really?
I don't know why. I just wasn't at all. My little sister, she would read all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't start reading until my adult life. Yeah. And the first series I read was ACOTAR.
Stop.
And I just dove right in.
Who's your fave?
Reese.
Really?
Resand.
Oh my God, stop.
Wait, who's yours? Cassian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but also I don't know. I heard Azriel's kind of like a freak.
I mean,
like wink wink.
I might. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. We'll have to see. But I have some.
But no, I could see it.
Yeah. I like Resand.
Yeah.
Resand?
Yeah.
Reese. I think I say Reese, but then my husband
Reese too.
listened to the audiobook and I think they say Reese, but they say Resand for full name. I'm like, just Reese.
Whatever. It's just easier.
It is.
Yeah.
And stop making crazy names. Okay.
I
don't know how to say them.
I don't even know how they come up with them, to be quite honest with you.
I don't either.
Well, so for my characters, my husband's like pissed because I took them from my baby name list, all of them. And well, I never intended to continue the series. And so that's why like I have 3 characters that start with the letter C, because it's like it was not that serious.
That's cool though.
Well, but they're all from my baby name list. And like the most recent book that I released, the main male character's name is Walker. And I love that name.
That's a cute name.
I love it. And I keep trying to like tell him, I'm like, whenever like if we have a son, it's Walker. And he's like, I'm not naming our kid after your book character. I'm like, it's not after the book character.
You don't get it.
Chill.
I feel like he'll come around.
Yeah. I mean, eventually. But also like I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, you'll just write it on there.
Yeah, exactly. Just like be cool. Just like slip him the paper. No, but it is crazy. I have no idea how fantasy authors come up with the names for all their stuff. It's like impressive. Because
like Cassian, that's not I've never read that anywhere else.
Or Azriel.
No.
Literally any of the names. Where do you come up with mitten guardworm?
Yeah.
Spelled W-Y-R-M.
Okay, that I was like, how do you say this?
Yeah, I know.
My husband.
It is better to listen to the audio for stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah. My husband's a nerd too, so he was like, that's worm. And I'm like, how do you know? You're a nerd. That's why.
So cute though.
How many books do you have so far? What are the names? Tell us.
Plug. It's actually really funny because this morning, have you ever heard of New York Times Connections?
No, but I know the New York Times.
Okay, so like they do this connection. It's like a series of like, it's like a 4x4 tile where they release like you have to match four tiles, like, and it's like a word association game basically. Okay. So today actually they had green is like the easiest column or whatever. It was resident, intern, attending, and what's my other one? A fellow. And I was like, but obviously like I know why, because they're real life like physicians. But I was just like, this is kismet.
No, yeah.
But anyway, so Dr. Resident is the first book in the series, and then there's Dr. Intern, Dr. Fellow, and Dr. Attending is the final one, which is coming out in like late January, early February. It's so crazy though, because I actually hate the name Dr. Attending. I hate all of the names, but I hate Dr. Attending the most because it's like, but there's just nothing better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it Doctor. You know, like
you're funny though, because I think most authors say stuff like this about their own books.
Yeah,
I think it's cute.
You have to.
It's cute.
My husband actually he was like, Dr. Resina is a dumb name, and I'm like, okay, well, you're dumb.
Okay, you don't like Walker, you don't like Dr. Resina.
It's like the negativity has to. I'm just kidding. He's very supportive. I love him as I'm just dragging him right now.
It's a love language.
Exactly. Yeah. So they basically it's like a. Have you ever read like Found Family series, like where it's just basically like they're all friends, and they, you know.
So the book's kind of intertwined there.
Oh yeah, I didn't intend it that way either, because typically you want, like most authors, romance authors, write series where it's like they're interconnected standalones, right? And that's what these are technically, but it does read better, although I would not judge anyone who didn't read the first book. It's not that good.
You're so funny.
But you learn. Well, you learn. You learn as you go. And so, anyways, but yeah, it became. Spoiler alert. I wrote a cliffhanger into the second book.
Okay.
It's not a cliffhanger related to the couple. It's just related to the series. And then I did it again in the third book because I'm an asshole. Because I'm an asshole. And but no, so yeah, it's better to read them all together. But you can do them individually. I actually had multiple people who read this third one before reading the rest of the series, and that was an interesting experience, but they didn't have any issues. So, but I was like, yeah, this is my best one, so definitely read it first.
Okay.
It's been fun though, and I've learned a lot. Like, it's wild.
It is wild because it's just so different than our original career nursing. I mean,
original
it's so
plan.
Different.
Yeah, but also I get to like still feel like I'm, you know, in the hospital, like doing fun things. It's fun.
And you're probably inspiring people to start, you know, trying things for themselves too.
Oh my God, especially like
writing.
No, I was gonna say
like really
other things. Wink, wink. No, it is wild though, because like, so when I wrote the first book, I got a lot of messages from nurses who said that they had never felt like represented that way in a book that they had read before, which was really cool. And they like appreciate the commentary, you know? And so that was honestly the thing that kept me going. But then I've also gotten a lot of messages from women who have read my books, and like it's inspired them to try things with their partners, or like, you know, like kind of be more open to other things. And I think that is cool as hell.
That is cool
like,
as hell.
You
don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what
That's
you don't know.
And
you literally do not know what you do not know. And that also applies to stuff in the bedroom. And so it can be intimidating, like I said, to like learn new things. And so that, I think, is one of the beautiful things about the romance genre, is that it's less intimidating for women.
That's why smut is one of my favorite types of genres, because I grew up very very religious. Yeah. Very hush hush. We don't talk about that. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. And I'm 32 years old. I'm just now becoming sexual with myself. You know, it's like, and it's intimidating.
It is intimidating.
But reading smut books, I'm like,
it opens your eyes. It opens your eyes to things that you would have never known about. Or like just makes you feel more confident in yourself. And asking for things. And another plug is that not plug, but like rant. Our society prioritizes male pleasure over female pleasure.
100%.
And so a lot of men are not taught the proper way. So like, I like to say that like sometimes you mold your husband into the person you want them to be. And so it is like having those conversations with them, like, or just like any partner is like, no, I get like it's easy for you, but like women are different, and which is why I will always plug this book. It's called She Comes First by Ian Kerner. It's like it's a book about like female pleasure basically, and like anatomy, but it's geared towards men. So it like it's kind of like educational for men as well with regard to female pleasure. My husband read it, nonfiction, obviously, and he loved it, and it really actually helped a few
him in
things.
The bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. And I love, but like we should be mutually applying pleasure to each other.
Pressure and pleasure.
Both.
No, I agree with you, and I also think my husband and I have had these conversations too. And
it's tough to have, though.
It's tough to have.
So hard.
But even like men don't have these conversations amongst each other.
Absolutely not. They never talk about it.
No.
And that's why every time I go somewhere, it's all I talk about, because I think it's super important. Because
it is important.
Because women also don't talk about it. Most women.
I think women talk about it more
than men
together
do.
Than men do.
100%. Men never talk about it.
Men talk about, if they talk about it, it's more locker room shit. It's not actual intimacy.
Right.
And women, I think from society, we're kind of like, not shunned, that's not the word I'm looking for, but like, I don't know, shit on for talking about it. If 100%. We're talking about it, we're sluts.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like,
misogynistic.
It's very misogynistic. Yeah. And it's like, the more people that talk about it, like, I think of people like Drew Afuelo, I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but a girl on TikTok that she talks about women, she's loud, she talks about what we should experience, how we should experience life, pleasure, all the things. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so attractive to me because of the way I grew up. And I'm like, we should be loud about this stuff. We should talk to each other about this stuff. Or
we should also talk to our kids about it.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know, like, I literally I didn't know anything. Yeah. Even going into college, like, about what it was like, what you should expect or be doing. And that's not like a knock on my parents. That's just like growing up in the South.
It is.
Like, it's just
it's
not
a Midwest South thing.
Yeah. So we need to also educate people on like what they should expect and demand.
Sex is natural.
It is 100%.
You're gonna do it at some point.
And you know what? If you're doing it, you should make sure you enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there are so many different ways to enjoy it too. Like, I write a lot of kink into my books because I think I think it's super important to write it safely and contemporary. I don't know if you've ever read like dark romance.
I have. Does Hunting Adeline count?
Yeah. Yeah.
Haunting Adeline?
Yes. Yeah.
That one's.
It's a lot.
I like it personally, but
I know. I'm a dark romance girl. No, don't worry. Literally my favorite subgenre. But I think like a lot of contemporary romance doesn't like to touch kink because I don't even really know why.
I think because of controversy.
It is. But I do think that it's super important to normalize because a lot of people do it or to introduce people to it in a way that's safe and like not like, I don't know.
Not forced. It's just reading about it. You're learning about
forced is what you'll get in dark romance oftentimes. Yeah. But in a way that's very like normal and like normal people experiencing these things too. It's not taboo. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that we have to break by talking about it, which if you talk about it with your friends,
that's one step closer.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so I didn't even have any of this in my notes, but
really?
I was like, oh, this is good because it's so true.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think also like what has helped me is, and a lot of women will ask me like, well, how do I have these conversations with my husband or my partner or whatever about like what I might like in with regard to kink or just like in the bedroom. And I'm like, honestly and truly, first of all, I recommend trying things by yourself first because that is very helpful. Yeah. And it also makes you more confident. And then the other thing is the conversation's never going to be easy. But it's, you trust each other, you communicate openly, and I mean, my husband and I have been together for 10 years as well. Oh, I didn't know that. Not married for 10, but we've been together. Still. Yeah, and we only recently started like having these more challenging, honest conversations within the past 6 months to a year. Yeah. And it changed everything. Yeah. It did. And it's not, but it's some of the hardest conversations I've ever had.
Sure.
Because being like open like that.
Being
even with
truly really honest.
Vulnerable.
I'm vulnerable. That's the good word.
It is so vulnerable.
Yeah. But if it's with someone you trust,
exactly,
hopefully the conversation comes out great at the end.
Exactly.
And it's never it's never shitting on them.
No.
Because like you said at the beginning, they don't know either.
No, absolutely not. And it is a fine line to walk.
Yeah.
And that's where I actually just, this girl that I talked to on Instagram who is like in a reader group that I'm in, she asked, like, how do I make it out to be like, I'm not, like, you're not, it's not that you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that I want to try something different. Mm-hmm. And I was like, a great way to do it is to show him, like, be like, hey, babe, look at this book scene I just read. Look at this chapter. What do you think of it?
Yeah.
Like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then get their honest opinion. Be like, well, my husband would be like, it was fine. And I'll be like, well, I think it's hot. Let's do it. But I mean, that's like a less intimidating way, but it is still really hard. And I'm not gonna.
Don't sugarcoat it. Because it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
But I think once you start talking like that, it's easier.
It does get easier.
Because me and my husband now, I'm like, you want to try this?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Do you want to try this?
Exactly.
Let's try one of them.
Let's do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does get easier.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I have some book-related questions.
Let's do it.
Since we're on book talk.
I know. Book talk.
Let's see. Okay, what's the first book you remember reading?
I feel like some sort of childhood book, right?
Mine's gonna be Junie B. Jones.
Oh my god, I loved that series.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
That's the only thing I remember reading as a kid was Junie B. Jones.
Did you ever read the Magic Treehouse series?
I didn't.
It was similar. Like,
really?
Similar to like the small chapter
books. Yeah, they were
books.
little.
Yeah, it was like that.
Do you remember the Boxcar Children?
Yes.
Okay, that was something else I tried to get into.
I never got into it, but
I couldn't.
It seemed too long for me at the time.
That was the same.
Didn't
me
have
too.
the attention
it's
span.
I know. Now the books, I'm like, Jesus.
I know, like compared to Actar.
Yeah. Like, how did I? Okay.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. But yeah, no, that was a great. I've heard good things about that series. I also read Little House on the Prairie, like all those books.
Really?
Yeah, I was obsessed.
I feel like those were probably good.
They were longer though, probably too long for you.
They were too long for me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Only nerds read that. No, I'm
skip over. Hand it to your husband.
No, yeah. Read this for me. Give me the clip notes.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the book or series that got you hooked on reading? And it doesn't have to, like, maybe re-hooked on reading.
Yeah, re-hooked on reading. Great question. So, let me think. I think when I first, as an adult, when I got back into reading, I started reading thrillers.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning, and I think it was Ruth Ware, The Women in Cabin 10.
Ooh,
I love Ruth Ware.
She's fantastic for thrillers.
She really is.
And some hauntings, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
She's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
ACOTAR is the one I can think of immediately that got me hooked on reading.
It's a good one.
Immediately. And some of my friends don't like it, but they don't like fantasy. And I'm like, well, you can't like it.
Yeah,
you have to go
I get it. It's a journey.
It is a journey.
But audiobooks are really great to get you back in as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Any type of reading, Kindle, audio, real book.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that sound that's going around? In the club, we all fam.
We all fam. Yeah.
Like, no matter which one, we're all
in
fam.
the club.
What's a book that made you cry?
Have you ever heard of The Women by Kristen Hanna? It just came out maybe 6 months ago.
It just came on my For You page.
Would highly recommend.
Okay.
It's about a nurse in Vietnam.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think I cried 3 times. Crying is cyclical. It depends on
the week, the month.
Yep, exactly what's going on. But it made me tear up multiple times. It's a great book. Would highly recommend. The Woman.
Okay.
Yeah, The Women. I think it's Women.
Okay.
But yeah, highly recommend.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be about the women nurses in Vietnam and how they weren't recognized, and her coming back from war and PTSD and.
Oh yeah, that'll make me cry. Yeah. And we can relate in a sense.
I know, and it's really interesting. I was kind of hesitant because I try and not read medical. Romance, drama, whatever, when it's not written by someone in the field. But she knocked it out of the park. And she does really great research. She has written so many good books. Yeah.
Okay.
Would highly recommend.
That'll be on my list.
Have you ever cried from a book?
Oh my God, yes. The one I just got done reading, what's it called? First True. I have to look.
I was gonna say.
Let me look.
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher it. That's one thing about me, though. After I read a book, I will remember certain things, but also I will forget everything.
I know. Me too. It's like Goodreads is the only way.
It's the only way. One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Oh, she wrote. She's the one who wrote.
Yes.
It
was super popular.
Yeah, the Daisy Jones and the Six. Yeah. Yes. Was it good?
I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six.
Was that one good?
I gave it 5 stars.
Wow.
My husband does call me a star whore, though, because I will give out 5 stars here and there. But
I mean, no.
I loved it. Made me cry 3-4 times. It's
okay.
Good.
I'll add it to my list.
Sexiest book you've ever read? If you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Besides your own.
Yeah. I did ask someone when I got these questions. I asked someone. I was like, what would you guys say? Because like I don't want to scare people. But then they were like, your books, and I'm like, no. But like I can't say that. And also I haven't read those. Like fun. But there is like, so I read a lot of dark romance.
I love
like
dark
I was
romance.
saying. So Chantal Tessier like literally writes great spice. And then literally any of her, like The Ritual, The Center, like there's a whole series.
The Ritual, someone just recommended to me in my book club.
You have to text me and let me know how you think. Because I did get in trouble. I used to recommend it to a lot of people. And then I got like a text or the next time I saw that person, they were like, why was she crying so much? Like what? And I was like, no, they were happy tears. And she was like,
it wasn't competing for her. She was like,
not the vibe. No, yeah. So
I tried to recommend.
You have to be careful.
Haunting Adeline before I ever read it.
Oh, really?
I was in a brand new book club.
Oh no.
And then we all brought a book.
And you never read it? Oh no.
I also am not one to read, just personal preference. I don't read trigger warnings. I'm like,
right. No, I don't either, but listen, I do respect people who do.
I respect them. 100.
Exactly.
I'm new to book club, so I didn't know.
Oh no. Well, do they have triggers?
Yes.
Well, the people
there,
Ooh,
yeah. So I didn't know, but we had never.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
We had never verbalized it.
You don't know what you don't know.
So we all brought a book, and I laid it out. And my friend Bree, she was like, have you read the triggers in that book? And I was like, no. Was I supposed to do that before we bring a book? You know what? I literally brought the only dark romance.
Stop.
And I was like, I am never doing this again.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
It's definitely a certain type of people.
It is a different. It's your tribe. You find your tribe.
You do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not shitting on trigger warnings.
No,
I totally understand
not.
them.
Yeah, totally get it.
I just go in head first.
Me too. Like I would love to be triggered.
No, please trigger me.
Please let me feel something.
Books you love but everyone else seems to hate.
Okay, I this question I thought about for a long time, and I was like, you know what? Everyone's gonna hate any book because there's always gonna be. That is the one thing I've learned from becoming an author. Like there is someone who's gonna hate
anything, any
book. You know what? They're gonna hate the best book written in the world, and so it is like I just feel like I like. Everything.
Like, yeah.
I like everything that I read for the most part. I am not critical because I think also becoming an author has given me a lot of perspective on the amount of work that it takes to publish a book.
Yeah.
And it's a craft. It's like an art form almost, and it's incredibly vulnerable, especially like the stuff that I write. So like I'm sure for most people it is, but it gave me an appreciation for the work, the body of work that it is, rather than like, whatever. So I feel like your husband calls you a star whore. I'm literally a star whore. Everyone gets 5 stars because I'm just like, I appreciate that you took the time to like. It's a decent book. Like I'm not hard to please. Like as long as whatever. 5 stars.
That's a good answer, actually.
Yeah, because everyone's going to have different opinions,
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just Skip it. I'm not going to answer it.
No, you're fine. You can if you want.
Do you reread books?
No, because I don't have the time to reread.
Same.
And there's so many books.
My to be read is so long. I can't waste a day.
No, you can't.
Going back. Right now.
Yeah, now. Maybe one day.
If I'm in a book slump, which I haven't been in a while.
Is there a book you always go back to? Akhtar?
It would be Akhtar, but not the first book. I'd skip to the second just read it through. I'll just read it through. You have to, I feel like. Tamlin. But not the, Tamlin.
Stop. That's actually so funny. You just skip the first one.
I just skip it. I already know what happens. He pisses me off. Move on.
Yeah, valid. No, I could see that. It is. I actually, you know what? I did reread that series physically after I listened to it on audio.
Okay.
And it takes you to, that's one of the cool things about fantasy, is that it takes you to a whole new world.
Yes.
And you just feel like you're immersed in it.
Yes.
Like you're a different person. Like you're fighting King of Highgarden. Like it's,
I'm fighting a huge worm.
Yeah, I'm actually a big deal.
No, I feel like that too. I think that's actually why I love reading so much, because I can escape from life or work or whoever pissed me off that day. You can just escape.
Yeah, exactly. And go be with your fictional book boyfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jared, if you piss me off, I will go be with Reese.
And you know what? I feel like he would respect you for that.
He would.
Yeah.
It's honest.
He understood.
It's honest work.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Oh, wait, there's two more. Best book you've ever read that you recommend to everyone?
Oh, gosh. I feel like, okay. So there's this book, and it's actually, this is nonfiction.
Okay. Mine's nonfiction
Wait,
too,
really?
now that I think of it.
That's so wild.
I know, and I'm not a nonfiction girl.
Wait, you go first.
The Glass Castle.
I've never read it. What's it about?
It's a memoir.
Okay.
But it's pretty much about this girl's life. She had a really shitty childhood.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes through her parents' stuff too. But all in all, she grows up to be a wonderful person. And it's just cool seeing someone's struggles and what she went through is just so crazy. Books like that, I will always I love memoirs.
Yeah.
So that's one nonfiction I like.
Who's it by?
Let me look it up because that's what I suck at.
Yeah.
The Glass Castle. I'm trying to get better though because I'm
it's so hard to know. It's hard to remember all the author names.
It is. There's
so many.
There's so many. And some duplicate titles and
I know.
It's by Jeanette Walls.
Okay. I will have to add.
I 5-starred that too.
I'm gonna listen to an audio version of it.
Yes. It'll probably be quick.
Yeah, vibes. What was the last question though that you had so that I remember?
Best book you've ever read to recommend to everyone?
I have, so it's this book called 14,000 Things to Be Happy About.
Oh.
I actually do not know who the author is either, so okay. But basically it's just a list of 14,000 random things that that I think this author came up with over their lifetime. And it's random things the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July, or pink cabana umbrellas, things like that. And so every day I'll open it and read one, and it's just I talk about the word perspective a lot, but it just gives you perspective, because it's there is more there. It's about finding the little things in life that you just would normally gloss over and not think about.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good answer.
Let me tell you what it's called.
Now I have to put it in my 14.
It's probably a few. Barbara Ann Kipfer. Would highly recommend. Literally $7 at Target.
Boom.
It sits on my desk.
Added.
Yeah.
It sits on my desk. Yeah. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap it up. What book means the most to you?
Oh,
Maybe
I feel like I
I
flip-flopped that one. Well, I flip-flopped the questions actually. Oh. So it is that book because my mom got it for me, and anyways. But the book that I would recommend to other people, that I would also recommend, we're doing double, is there's this book called When Breath Becomes Air, and it's a palliative care. It's a book about palliative care. And it's written by, I want to say he was a neurosurgeon who was in his residency and ended up getting some sort of terminal illness. But it goes through what he went through and tells his story and gives commentary on death and dying. I love talking. I could talk about death and dying all day.
I could too.
Really?
I could too. I like, yeah.
Well, you should read this. It's fascinating.
What's it called one more time?
When Breath Becomes Air, and I will not even try to attempt the author name because I would butcher it. It was published post-mortem, actually. I want to say. But it's a phenomenal read.
Paul Kalanithi?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
That's
it's
4.4 stars. That's huge.
It's a great book. Yeah.
Okay.
Would highly recommend.
On my TBR.
What's yours?
Meant the most to me? I don't think I've read enough to make one mean the most to me.
It is hard.
It's hard.
You can pull something from every book.
You can.
You know?
I could not tell you off the top of my head. Like, I'd have to really think. And I can't say Akatar again.
Akatar actually means...
Akatar.
I mean, but like, no judgment.
No, but it wouldn't mean. That one wouldn't mean the most to me. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Because I feel like books also evoke memories, like based on the time in your life when you read them. Like, you think back, I read Twilight in high school. I will never forget what was happening.
See, I've never read Twilight.
Really?
I should.
You should as an adult.
I should.
Honestly.
I bet it's a trip.
It's a ride. It's a ride. I would highly recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably read it one day.
Yeah.
Along with Harry Potter. I need to read Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Have you seen the movies?
I've seen the movies.
Okay.
That was the only way my husband would marry me, is if I had to see them or read it. He's like, you have to be one of the, and then I have to like it.
They're such easy reads though. Like, you could do it so fast.
But they kind of look intimidating.
But they're fake.
Okay.
It's
like, not that big.
No, it's really not bad at all.
All right.
Yeah. Put it on your next.
All right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. Whoa.
That's a big.
Okay, you're right. Just like pump it up on the TBR a little bit.
It'll be in the top 10.
Yeah. There's a lot going on right now. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Well, that's all I have for you.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. This
thank
is
you
awesome.
for coming.
I'm so glad.
I'm so glad that we got to meet.
I know.
Where do you want people to find you on social media?
They can find me. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Because I asked one time and she was like, no.
Oh, really?
Oh, just kidding. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Lexie Woods _author, or TikTok, same handle. I also have a Facebook, but I never use it, so don't go there.
I'll have all the links for her social medias in the description. And once again, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.